about the layout sections of calculator. So wherein we had, used the nested linear layout. And if you can recall that we had, added all these methods into each of this buttons uh, in invocation. So like for each and every button from, this number pad section, we had used a method called numpress. Okay. And for, I guess, action button section, we had used some another method like update operand, update operations, and for equal to we had used calculate. So this part is basically showing you step by step, how we have added the function name inside the XML file, and correspondingly you're getting its prototype created inside your Java file. So this much part I have already shown you in the previous session. Okay. So let us have a look at the implementation part of each of this functions prototype which are defined here. So here you can see that, for all the buttons we have added a numpress, okay, as a function name. For clear we have added the function name as reset, okay, and so you can see how, once you have defined the name of function, you can create it inside your Java file like this. You just have to say create the function. This bulb will come, and then you just have to click on this create option. So each and every method you should first have to go inside your layout file and appropriately add the method name. So as you have seen here, after reset, then we have added update operation into plus and minus inside their attributes called onClick. Okay, and calculate method we had called inside the equal to. Fine. So I hope you have understood that these four methods for four different purposes. So numpress is to flashback the same number pressed on the screen, UI screen. Reset is to clear, and update op is a short form for update operations. So wherever the plus and the minus signs are clicked, then the respective labels would be captured and operations would be set, and calculate method is to compute the actual value. Hope no doubt till here. Any doubt, students? Any doubt? I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am, no doubt.
Okay, so now just have a look at how we're going
No,
to
ma'am, no
implement the
doubts.
numpress. Okay, so basically, what we have to do when any of the number button is clicked. So we have to look at what was the label set to that particular button, get its label, and put it back onto the, or set it inside the particular operands. Okay, so as of now, we are working only with two operands. So we're going to capture the label button's caption and store it inside the operand. And at the same time, we have to display it on a screen. Okay, so to deal with button, we have around 9 buttons over there. Okay, so for 0 to 9 buttons, we have to, find out which buttons have been clicked. Its ID has to be captured. Okay, and with respect to ID, you can see what was its caption. But that's a very lengthy, what you can say, mechanism, because for each and every button, you have already seen that we had added an on-click property wherein we are calling this numpress. So any button is clicked, this numpress would get called, and what this numpress is doing is simply going to capture the label of the or the caption or the text value of the respective buttons which are clicked, and then going to put it inside the string or inside some labels, or it will going to put it back onto your text view, and at the same time we're going to store it inside the operands. Okay, so if at all you wanted to create or if you wanted to store the ID of any view. So this is a way of getting the ID. Okay. So though we are not going to use it here. Okay. So this part I had commented out later, but then here it was not. But then this is just to show you like how you can get any views ID, not a and then later on you can, with the help of this BID value that you had received. So basically this BID will going to hold the value which you had specified in the ID attribute of your layout file. Okay. So then depending upon this BID attribute, you can later see what was its actual value, and then you can check inside the conditional statement and then work upon it. Okay. So this is one thing. But then what are we going to do here is usually, when we want to work with any of the view component, first thing is that we have to instantiate its object of its type. Okay, so we have all the objects or all the views which are of type pattern. So usually we used to, call a method find view by ID here, and then we used to pass r.id.respective buttons ID. But then, students, we have around 9 to 10 buttons, so it's not feasible to go and create the instances for each and every button ID that we had. So what we have done here is we had, just generalized it all the button inside the object name as button, and we had simply, mapped it, or we had typecasted it to its specific uh, type class, that is button. Okay. And we have not used that find view by ID method here. We have just, going to generalize it. All the buttons are going to be created under the instance B. Okay. So because this numpress has been eventually called on every button click event. So there's no need to do that. So once only it is required to create the button object. So next, what are we doing is we are getting the text, okay, the caption of button. So whichever button would we click, like 0, then 0 would be fetched. 1, then 1 would be fetched. So likewise, any of the button that is clicked, so its caption or its text would be fetched and it would be stored inside this another string which is named as BT. Okay. So these are the two main steps that, main code that we have so far written inside the numbers. This one is optional as of now. Okay. So the only thing is that I have not commented here. But yeah, but from this you would have understood like how you go about just directly, writing the code even without declaring, the type and the function. Look at here also. I've created one method update operand. I'll just one step back. So I just, thought of writing one method, update operand. So because after getting this captions or this labels of button, I need to set my operand. But then if I do so, my this method would become so lengthy. And this way I'm trying to show you or demonstrate you how to write a modularized code and neat code. Okay, wherein you can, easily perform a tracing of your logic as well as debugging of it. Okay, so now what I'm supposed to do is I have to, pass this whatever caption I have fetched inside the BT to one more method, which is update operand. Okay, so this why I have done is because as of now we are working with two operand, but as and when you will go and increase the number of operand, because if there are only two operand, then you may start writing operand 1 is equal to this, operand 2 is equal to this. But then in future, if you suppose expand this code or extend it, its logic by increasing the, any number of operand that, normal calculator has. So in that case, you may find it feasible to create one different method which would going to update or set the operands. So while doing so, you need to pass this label. Okay. So I haven't specified how my update operand will look like. But then when I had clicked on create a method, so it has created a one for me. Looking at its prototype, I had passed a string and it has written this private method because this was not what you can say, this method was not written inside the layout file. Okay, so that's why it was not public. And now, I have just thought in my mind that I would be choosing one variable operand 1 and I'm going to work with it. So you can see that I haven't declared it, but it has given me, of course, an error because I haven't declared it, right? But then it simultaneously gives us the provision of how to declare it. So it keeps on giving this what you can say alert kind of a thing with which you can directly use them, and there's no need to go and literally write in a hard code. So you just have to come over there and say create local variable and see it has automatically determined the data type as well. Just like for BID also, when I'd written BID equal to view.get ID, it has automatically identified that yes, it has to be an integer. And you can here see that after declaring it, how you can split the declaration part and its initialization part. Okay, so since I may use this operand throughout my code, though initially I had created it locally, but I may use it throughout my code. So I thought of putting it globally. So that is why, you know, placing it here instead of placing it inside the operand, update operand method. So now what basically we are trying to do is we are trying to set the operand. As of now, as I told you that we are working only with two operands. So first we need to check if first operand is not null, then set the first, if it is null, then set the first operand, else set the second operand. Okay, so this is the simple logic, because obviously the first operand has to be set first and then the next operand. So again, shifting the second operand also up for making it global. Okay, and next what I'm doing is, after my operand has been updated, I'm just going by the flow. Just imagine you have a calculator in front of you. When you click on any of the button, so two things happen. One is that setting of this operand value, which is behind the scene, so which is what we are taking care of. Okay, so we have started with num press. So num press was capturing the caption, and it was sending that caption to update operand. Update operand was receiving the caption, and it was setting the respective operand. And now, as and when that is done, and when user clicks on any button, the user also see that the update UI has updated. Okay, so like if I press 2, 2 will appear. If I press, instead of 2, 3, then 3 will appear. Or let us say if I press 2 first, so operand 1 should be set to 2 and then next 3. Okay, so at the same time, our UI part should also be, our calculator section 1 view should also be updated. So for that, I'm creating a separate method with the name as update UI itself. And why I'm again, creating this method, because uh, wherever it is, like, if suppose I'm not only working on the number pad section, if I'm also working on the action pad section, so you have used your actual calculator also, right? So when you try to perform any operation with a plus or minus, so that also gets reflected onto your output screen. So to do that, if you keep this again update UI module as a separate function, then you may call it n number of time from any other function. Okay, so that is why doing so update UI. Okay, so again I have just written the name. It has created the prototype for me. And now what this update UI is only going to focus on one part. Okay, that is updating the text view. Okay, or setting the value of a text view. Now what it is trying to set the value of text view with, so I had created one string label, okay, with the name as output, wherein it contains this thing like operand 1 is equal to the value of operand 1. So I've appended, so which is coming from the previous method itself. So which is coming from this update operand itself. So now you should have realized, why I had, instead of creating it as a local variable, I've shifted it up and created it as a global variable. So that, my another my all other methods who are in or which are in need of accessing these objects or these variables, they may do it easily. So if I had kept it locally inside update operand, then I may not be able to access it. So now I can simply write operand 1 concatenated with operand 1, operand 2 with operand 2. Now operation has to be set, okay? So that will also going to come. Then result has to be set. So I imagine myself that I would be using one variable with the name as result, okay? whose value I would be fetching and would be appending with the label as result. Okay, this four things, the operand to operands value along with the operation and result, it has to be shown onto my UI. I'm just going above and again declaring my operation. So for simplicity, just to know, our operation label is working properly. So by default, I've set it to plus. And see how I'm now creating the result. Okay. So since, everything is going to be appeared onto your text view and which was like a string or a character array. So depending upon that, it has determined the type of it. Okay. But then we know that the result has to be given some so eventually, you would be displaying it onto the text view, okay? And you have concatenated also inside the string. So that's why you have to make use of string dot value of, okay? And you have to declare your result as integer. So as of now, just for simplicity again, we are only focusing on integer variables, not on the floating point and all. Of course, you can change it, okay? So these are the things that would going to appear on my UI, okay? So this is how update UI method would look like. And then next, going ahead. Okay. So from where, from where our actual value would be fetched. So, or where we have to set. So for this two job, we always have to look upon view. So from where the value has to be fetched. So for that also you have to instantiate the view object, and where you want to put this value, that time also you have to create the object for the view. So now this value has to be shown onto the text view. Okay. So the ID of which inside my layout file I had set to text one. So you're going by assigning the object to this text view with the name as res. Okay, probably indicating result. And you have seen that how I have created the text view res. Okay, and I've set res dot set text to the output. And since it was an this initialization code, to make this UI update UI module more smaller, or you can say more lean, I had again taken that line out of here, the initialization of res. So res is basically a text view component. So now what are we trying to do is we're trying to set the text view with this label or with the string output, which is holding all the four variables values. So I hope update UI is understood, student. Any doubt till here? Does anyone has any doubt? Any step that has to be repeated? Any line of code that has to be repeated? Yes? Any doubt? Any doubt, student? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now you can yourself imagine what would be there inside the reset. So when you clear out anything, so all the operand and operation and result, everything has to be resetted. Okay, so just again showing you the same code like whatever we have implemented so far. Now press update operand and update UI. Okay. So actually I tried executing that same code here only up till this much part. Okay. So I have to stop this video, will play another one wherein the output part is captured. So because this video is only up till here, up to this much being recorded. So I'm going to now show you the uh, output part. So I hope this another screen is visible. So you can see, you know, up till this much, if you try to execute, what you will be able to see, whenever you click on any of the button, okay, so operand 1 and operand 2 has to be set with their respective values. So first of all this thing has to appear whenever you click on any button. So you can see here initially, wait, okay, so initially all the values are blank. Actually, you know, this is again this is not from the starting point of running this calculator app, because otherwise you would have seen some value, because it is from the mid. I've already run twice or thrice. So here, when you click on clear button, so everything should get reset. Only up till this much part is we have implemented. So after clicking on any button, operand 1, operand 2 should be set, and clearing out operation should be done. So this is from the starting point. You have seen that 0 is displayed. So now as and when you click on any of the button, then this all the string output will appear with the plus as the default operation going in. So because we have set it as default, right? So when you again click on any of the button, you may see that, you know, operand 1 has already been set, but if you click on any of the button, operand 2 is changing. So this is as per our code what we have written, though it is not an what you can say right way of doing so. So we may wanted to, you know, change the operand 1 itself, so that I would leave up to you how to modify. And as you can see that, you know, my equal to, it's not working because it is yet to be coded. We have only covered the number pad section part, how to, you know, capture the caption and display it here. And as well as this has to be done yet. Okay, so we'll stop this video here, and again we'll go back to the second half of our demo part, remaining implementation. We are left with the a few more functions to be implemented. Yeah. So after reset, so we had implemented so far numpress, update UI, and update operand. Update operand will eventually going to call update UI. So reset was very simple, you know that. It is just going to reset all the, so it is just like थोड़ा आगे पीछे हो गया, but then you can understand what reset would do. So it would just going to, you know, reset all the variables, will set to blank, okay, and update UI. Because at the same time you have seen when I have shown you the execution part of calculator app. So as then when I had clicked on clear button, okay, so reset function would be called, okay, for the clear button, and at the same time UI has to be updated. So all the new value that are that have been resetted here, like 0 and blank, so that has to be reflected. So that is why again calling update UI method. So this way you can you know, keep on calling update UI method as and when you intend to perform any distinct operation of inside the calculation. So all the distinct operations that we have covered is the update operand, and update operation has to be done yet. So inside that also, and reset. So these are the three different unique operations. And one is like, you know, when you are calculating the result also. So whatever result has been obtained, okay. So for instance, if user has clicked on plus and addition, minus then subtraction. So for that we are creating one more function called get result. Okay. So separately putting it, you know, in a different function, not embedding it or not writing directly in the calculator, because again when you, as of now we have only plus and minus, but then when you will increase the number of operations, so this calculate method would look so big. Okay, so in fact at that point of a time, you know, you can simply look at what button id is clicked, and then appropriately you would, you know, write function for different mathematical operation and call those functions. But as of now, we know that, you know, we have only plus and minus. So we are together combining it inside get result. And we are going to call that first. And soon after the results are calculated, UI has to be updated. So that is why update UI. So you can imagine how many times we are, you know, calling this update UI method. For numpress, we had called. For reset, we have got for calculate. So don't you think that writing a modularized code would going to give you a reusability? So we had written update UI only once, but we are calling it multiple times in our code. Okay, so that is what I'm showing you here by scrolling it, like how many times we have used it. Okay. The next, you have seen that get result is still showing me in the red. It means I haven't declared or defined how it is to be. Now next we'll see. I think there was some problem, so I was trying to rectify that. So for that reason, I just commented out this get result because the prototype of get result was yet to be declared. So it was showing me an error to run the code. So that's why I commented it. So I'll just forward this part and we'll get back to this two implementation of this two method has to be done. Yeah, so I think what I was trying to do is to update the now operations like plus and minus. So again, first what we have to do is uh, first we have to just like how we have captured the operand, the same way operation has to be captured. So operation string is already declared. It was already declared while writing the update UI method. So now it's probably in numpress, since there was a similar action going behind, like whichever button is pressed, it has to be shown onto the UI part, okay, onto your calculator screen. But then when you talk about the operations, so you have to specifically look at the IDs of which button is clicked. So if it is plus, then the operation, respective operation variable has to be set to plus, otherwise minus. So for that, I just went above and copied that ID wala code and just kept it here. So you may say that yes, now this code is of use. This line of a code is now going to be used because we are going to see what is the ID. So imagine, okay, so why did I, went back into activity.main.xml probably to find out what was my ID that I had written. Okay, so to plus button the ID was assigned is plus, to minus button the ID was assigned minus, and so accordingly the operations are getting set to their respective as per their respective IDs. So if it is plus, so BID is equal. So how to check it? So the way to write is BID equal to r.id dot plus. So if it is plus, then operation is this. If it is minus, then is, and then calling the again update UI method, because whenever user will going to select the operation, he or she should know like what is the operation getting flashed or shown onto the UI, and accordingly the UI has to be updated. So here I tried executing the code again, okay, and just to verify whether my operations are shown properly or not. So we'll show you that part. So we'll just again forward this. And now you can see here, I'm trying to see whether the operation module, that is update operand module, is properly working or not. Yeah. So coming here and clicking on, I guess, minus button. So again, there I had run the code, and here seeing the working of update operation. Okay, so this was a problem that I was facing na when I had written the get result. So I went back, I commented get result, and उसके बाद में I think यहाँ पे आगे जाके किधर तो वापस से there would be testing. Here, somewhere here. So you can see again the code has run. So this was final only. But yes, you can see that, update operand is also working at the same time. Equal to demo is also working, but then I had captured that update operand somewhere separately just to show that yes, it was working. So you may imagine that how it is working. Somewhere here only I had done. I think it was resetted to minus sign out. So here it got problem. So, but yes, it was working. So after doing that, the next part remained is to actually implement that. Another one that is get calculate. So again, resuming from the point where we have left. So going back in the code and now creating the prototype for get result. Okay. And now we're going to first see what is the value of operation. If it is saying plus, then we may add two operand. Otherwise, we have to add the first. We have to subtract the or perform the subtraction between the operand value. Actually, while recording, so one ID has to be recorded and then output has to be recorded. Yeah, so see, it has created the prototype for get result. I'll just take one step back. So you can see that it was written void, but as soon as I wrote that, if operands are null, then return 0 because result has to be written as 0. So it has shown an error. So I changed void, which was a return type, to int. Okay. And now if operations says that it's plus, then a result. So this was the result variable which we had created again when we were writing this update UI. So that time only we had created it globally. So that's why we can directly use it now. No need to again redeclare. Okay. And so here you can see if it is plus, then you have to add. If it is minus, and probably you know that all the operations that you're fetching, they are of like string type. Okay. Oh, sorry, operand that you are fetching, they were of string type. So you need to pass it into integer type because they were the labels of buttons. Okay. So that's why this passing need to be done. And then after that, returning the appropriate results. This function will going to return you the actual value, which is result. Okay. And this particular module calculate, we had called it on click event of equal to button. Okay. So whatever value that this result global variable will hold, that would be, that has been already passed to update UI method. So as soon as this get result is clicked, after that update UI would be clicked. So whatever value that result has now, it would be shown onto your screen. Actually, I simply recorded it, but then later I came to know that output was not recorded. So whatever, breaks you have seen in between that where I had forwarded, so output wasn't recorded. My emulator screen wasn't recorded. So I went back again and then I recorded my output separately. So that's why I have to switch between two different videos. So if any inconvenient you felt, so please ignore that because this is also first time for us to experiment with this kind of demonstrations. So I would just take you to the final version of this calculator app, and wherein all the numpairs and everything is working along with the operations and operands and the equal to part as well. So that is your I think already seen this part final version of So you can see the equal to is also working. Yeah, but the only thing that is, has to be modified in this code is as and when I'm again clicking on any of the button, it's setting my operand 2. Okay, not operand 1. But as if you want to go back and set the operand 1, then how it has to be done. So I'm leaving this part up to you. And in addition to that, this code is limited to only 2 operand, but you can expand it to n number of operations. Okay, that a usual calculator app can have. So we'll stop here. So this was from my end. So this particular code actually, it gives you an insight. So previous session and this session together, if you combine, so this has given you an insight of how to design a small app. Okay, probably right from creating its layout, making those layout actionables like receiving the events on these buttons, and how to write a modularized code. So that is what it's what I can find among the students, which is missing. You know how to write the code. You in fact know the logic, but you write a very scrambled code. Wherein you find very difficult to perform the error correction and error detection, or like performing or tracing the logic properly, and sorting out the error part basically. So if you write this way the modularized code, not only it will reduce your job of looking at how nicely you have written a code, how well you can reuse it. So you have seen that many places how update UI was like it was reused. Okay, so this way you should proceed, or this approach you should follow, modularized approach of coding you should follow while writing any application. Not only I'm just talking about the Android application. As you have seen, there was nothing but all Java code with few convention of Android, like while creating a view, how to instantiate that or something like that. So apart from that, all was like a Java code, but then all was like a modularized code. Okay, so what should be your takeaway from this session is, you should know how to write the functions, how to call the functions, how to make your view, actionable, how to receive the events, how to make it interactive. Okay. So after this, what I expect is, first you give a try to just get a confidence. You try to implement a similar calculator app. Next,